You've never spoken to them. You don't know their names. You don't know where they live, what they do for work, or what they eat for breakfast. And yet, when one of them scores, you lose your mind. You hug the stranger next to you. You call your dad. You cry in your car on the way home. Not from sadness, but from something you can barely explain. What is that? Because here's what nobody tells you. That feeling isn't just passion. That feeling isn't just entertainment. That feeling is your brain doing something remarkably close to medicine. I'm gonna make a claim today that sounds ridiculous on the surface. Following a football club or a basketball team or any sport you love might be one of the most psychologically powerful things you do all week. Not the most productive, not the most rational, not the thing your therapist recommended, but powerful, genuinely, measurably, scientifically powerful? Yes, and we're gonna prove it. Let's start with a question. Why do you say we won? Think about it. You didn't play. You weren't on the pitch. You were on your sofa, probably eating something you shouldn't. And yet, we won. We were brilliant today. We deserved that. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called social identity theory, developed by Henri Tajfel in the 1970s. And the core idea is this. We don't just have identities, we borrow them. From our families, from our jobs,
from our cities, from our teams. When you put on that shirt, something clicks in your brain. The team's wins become your wins. The team's values become your values. The team's history becomes your history. And here's why that matters. Psychologists have found that people who strongly identify with a sports team have higher self-esteem. Not because they're delusional, but because they've successfully attached themselves to something bigger than themselves. Something that was here before them. Something that will be here after them. That's not delusion. That's meaning. Here's something uncomfortable. We are living through a loneliness crisis. Former U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy called it an epidemic. Studies suggest that close to half of adults in developed countries report feeling lonely on a regular basis. And loneliness, and I want you to hear this clearly, loneliness is not just sad. It is physically dangerous. The health impact of chronic loneliness is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It raises your risk of heart disease. It worsens depression. It literally shortens your life. Now, walk into a stadium, or a packed pub on match day, or a living room full of people in the same colors. What happens? You are instantly, automatically, without doing anything, part of a group with history, a group with language, a group with enemies and heroes and myths. You belong. And belonging? Belonging is not a soft, fuzzy, nice to have. Belonging is biological. We evolved to need it. You're nervous. Researchers at Anglia Ruskin University found that people who strongly identified as sports fans reported significantly lower levels of loneliness and higher life satisfaction than those who didn't follow sports. Not higher income, not better jobs, not more Instagram followers. Just a team. But let's go deeper, because it's not just about identity. it's not just about belonging. There is something chemical happening when you're in that crowd. When 60,000 people simultaneously react to the same moment, your brain doesn't just observe that, it joins it. This is called emotional contagion. Mirror neurons in your brain fire when you see someone celebrate, as if you are celebrating. When you see someone despair, as if you are despairing. This is why watching your team in a packed stadium
feels nothing like watching them alone. The crowd isn't background noise. The crowd is the experience. But here's the part that blew my mind. Researchers studying oxytocin, the chemical your brain releases during bonding, trust, and physical contact, found that shared emotional experiences in groups trigger oxytocin release even between strangers. That person you hugged after the goal, the one you'd never met before, the one you might never meet again, your brain treated that moment like a genuine human bond. Because in that second, it was.
The ritual and the illusion. Okay, let's talk about the weird part. The lucky shirt. The seat you have to watch from. The specific snack. The ritual that if you skip it, you are personally responsible for the loss. You know you're being irrational. You know. And yet, this is called magical thinking. And it exists because of something called the illusion of control. When outcomes are unpredictable, and sport is about as unpredictable as life gets, our brains desperately look for patterns, for agency, for something to do, so we're not just passive. And the beautiful irony? It works. Not because your jersey controls the midfielder's left foot, but because rituals reduce your anxiety. They calm your nervous system. They give you a sense of structure in something completely outside your control. The ritual isn't about the team. The ritual is about you.
When it hurts, we should talk about the dark side. Because if all of this is real, if your identity is genuinely attached to this team, then losing isn't just disappointing. Losing hurts. Researchers have found that after a significant loss, fans show measurable drops in testosterone, increases in cortisol, the stress hormone, and in some cases, genuine symptoms of grief. The stage-by-stage kind. Denial, anger, bargaining. If only the referee hadn't... Sound familiar? And for a small percentage of people, that attachment crosses a line. When your mood for the entire week depends on a Saturday result, when you're irritable with your family because of 11 strangers who don't know you exist, when the team becomes a substitute for every other source of meaning in your life, that's worth looking at. The same psychology that makes fandom a gift can, at the extreme, become a cage. The difference? Whether the team adds to your life or replaces it.
So, back to the beginning. 11 strangers on a field. They don't know you. They can't hear you. They will almost certainly never meet you. And yet, they give you an identity when you feel like nobody. They give you a community when you feel alone. They give you ritual when life feels chaotic. They give you shared joy and shared grief, which, it turns out, is one of the most human things there is. Sports don't just entertain us. At their best, sports hold us together. And maybe, just maybe, that's worth more than we ever gave them credit for.
If this video made you think of someone, a dad who lives for match days, a friend who never misses a game, send it to them. Because now you know, it's not just a game to them. And that's not weakness. That's just being human.